Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Sacred Womb podcast, where we talk about all things to do with befriending our menstrual cycle, deeply healing both our feminine and masculine aspects, and how we can indeed utilise our cyclical nature as a natural spiritual pathway that's encoded within our bodies. I'm your host, Melanie Swan, and you can also go to thesacredwomb.com for more information and loads of fantastic free resources. Hello, and welcome to the Sacred Womb podcast, episode 17, and this is the first podcast, in fact, of 2017. So I've got something pretty special lined up for you. It's a series of 7 podcasts on manifesting with the menstrual cycle. And each week I'm going to be releasing a podcast nice and short, about 10 minutes with a clear action step, just laying out the different phases of our menstrual cycle and how we can utilise those to create something in our lives that we want, that we need, that's required, and we can use it to heal and grow. So I've called it manifesting with the menstrual cycle because that's what we're doing, but it's not necessarily just for material things or things we want to kind of achieve. It's everything. It's healing, it's our growth, or it's our expansion. So use it for whatever you want, really. Practice with it. I encourage you to test it, tweak it for yourself, because this is not a system that I've invented. I'm not trying to say that I've got the last step to the secret manifestation, blah, blah, blah. It's what I've learned. It's what my menstrual cycle, my womb center has taught me. And that's taken practice. It's not something I've plucked out the air. This is grounded in my body and I've tested it. I've worked with it. It consistently works. It's our menstrual cycle. It was given to us as our birthright. And as we remember how to utilise that for our personal growth and expansion and creation in the world, we return to our power. That's part of our power. The fact that we're encoded with this spiritual system in our bodies. So I want to be really clear that this is something that I've really honed in on and tried out with the women that I've worked with. And I really want you to kind of try it out for yourself. Try it with your body. See what works for you. Because that's the only way we can actually work with our menstrual cycle. We can't fake it. We can't really, we can know the different phases of our menstrual cycle if we read a book, but to actually work with it, we have to experience it. We have to engage with our womb center. So I guess what I'm trying to say in short is this isn't some flaky, ungrounded, new cage kind of system that I'm claiming will get you a 6-figure salary in 3 months or something like that. If that's what you want, use it for that. But this is, I'm trying to get across to you that this is grounded within our bodies and it's real. But I don't want you to believe me. I want you to try it out for yourself and see what happens. So there are about 7 phases. I mean, it's not fixed. And personally, as soon as I start thinking, I kind of got a handle on this, my menstrual cycle kind of flips that out anyway. Okay, so that's my little introduction pep talk for this. I'm really delighted to share it with you. So this first phase is reflecting. And this phase of reflection refers to the part in the menstrual cycle where we get really reflective about our lives. We start picking through. We start feeling like this isn't going so well. This is going so well. This is pissing me off. I need to address this. You'll probably know this time as the premenstrual time. This is one of our greatest gifts. Now, it may not feel like that for you sometimes, because you may feel kind of, you get grumpy, you get agitated, any physical symptoms that come with that as well. But what's happening around this time is our hormones are shifting their balance. They're not out of balance, they're just rebalancing to present us with a different state of being. And that state of being is where our emotional body, if you like, or our emotions, as I prefer to say, are open. It's like the release valve gets activated. And then we start to feel what's aggravated us, what we need to address over the last cycle, or many cycles it could be too. So this time highlights for us what we need to address. And it can also be a time of sensing, okay, this is going really well as well. And part of what gives us, I say part very clearly here, part of what gives us uncomfortable symptoms around this time before we bleed is when we've suppressed emotions. Now, we're human, we all suppress stuff, we all put stuff in a little cupboard to be dealt with later when we're kids. But accessing that again and being able to process that out successfully, takes quite some skill and work. So we've all got some emotional charge that we need to process and things that we need to address. So that's just part of being human. But our premenstrual time is going to highlight layer after layer after layer after layer of this if we work with it. If we think, I just wish I didn't feel like this and I wish I could just carry on. We're going to skim over something that is really, our body's trying to tell us something, our body's trying to release as these emotions and things that need addressing come to the surface. So we've got reflecting in our premenstrual time. And like I said again, this isn't fixed. I've split these down into seven phases so that we can begin to work with it and get a sense of our cycle and that process of birth and death. Personally, when I get into this premenstrual time, I do take some action sometimes as well. Something needs addressing, I have to do it straight away, or pretty much straight away. So it can be reflection, it can be action, it can be all of these things, and we can go through a whole cycle in 10 minutes or a day. But let's just try and work with this for now, the main theme of reflection. And I've released these podcasts over 7 weeks as well, because we often try and just set our intention and then we want what we want and it doesn't really happen, and we can try and rush it. Again, human nature, our grabby little hands try and grab hold of anything we can get when we get some space or we want something or we feel that desire. So reflecting is the first step. This starts to slow us down a little bit more to the rhythm of our body. When we work with our cycle, we're working with our natural rhythm. So reflecting. A great thing to do to reflect is to just give yourself some space and just feel like how are things going. And when we let ourselves do this in our premenstrual time, and we start to drop some of the busyness that we create in our lives and give ourselves a little space. Okay, so I'm feeling a little this, I'm feeling a little that, but what would happen if I just kind of sat on my own, my private space, with a journal, a piece of paper, and just thought about what's happened over this last month? I mean, we're starting a new year right now, so you might want to reflect on the past year as well. But when we're in this premenstrual phase, it's easier to access our deeper thoughts and emotions. And when we start manifesting, creating from this point, we're better informed as to what's needed in our lives. And it's actually more likely to manifest because what we've got behind it is all of us, our deeper self, the subconscious that rises up during the premenstrual time. And when we've got that power, it's like having all of us on the same page, all those parts of us. We haven't got as much conflict going on if we're really listening to our deeper self. So your action step for this reflecting podcast is to, when you get to your premenstrual time, plan some space for yourself, reflect on the past cycle, reflect on the past year, reflect on the past few cycles if you like. Just take time to feel like where you're at. Okay, what's gone well? What's griping me? What's needs adjusting here? And what have I achieved as well? We can skip over this. I know certainly I've been in this phase before where I haven't really recognised what I'm achieving, and it can take, it's taken me down into a little bit of a spiral downwards, really, into like, okay, I need to work on this, and I've got very serious, and this needs to happen, and to have a balanced view is really, really important. So there we go. Reflect. Give yourself time to reflect in the premenstrual time, and note down what's gone well and what needs addressing. Okay, I hope that was nice and clear for you, nice and useful. The podcasts are going to be similar to this each week. Next week we have Rest and Let Flow. So I'd love you to check in the Sacred Womb private Facebook group. Give me some feedback. I'm speaking into a microphone and a computer in my little house in Germany here. So I want to know, is this useful for you? When you implemented it, what happened? And engage with it. That's what the Sacred Womb private Facebook group is there for. Any questions, just tag me and I will respond. And I'll see you next time. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast and that you got some useful tips out of it that can make a genuine difference in your daily life. And if you'd love to work deeper with this stuff, then do head on over to thesacredwomb.com, where you can sign up to receive the weekly newsletter and an invite to our private Facebook group, where you can share, learn and grow with like-minded women in a safe, supported space. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do leave us a rating, and your comments are very, very welcome. And I'll see you next time.